Entrepreneurship isn't a sprint or a marathon. It's a longevity of becoming the person that your dream requires. Barbara Bradley started out with $250 on a ping pong table with an idea. She's created a global brand, jobs, and built places with their soul impacted into them. Today, we're going to explore what it takes, not just to build a business, but to build a life that's worth remembering. And as Alex Hormozzi always says, it's supposed to be hard. That's what makes it worth it. Walk me through how you started Vera Bradley and got to that ping pong table.
Okay. Well, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had never actually had I had a full-time job being a stay-at-home mom, but I hadn't had a job where I went to work other than small wallpaper hanging. I happen to like hanging wallpaper. I like pattern. I like going into a blank room and walking out and have left it looking beautiful. So I always liked pattern. I grew up in Miami Beach, Florida, which was all color and pattern and flowers and all of that. And I didn't see that here in Fort Wayne. I do now. So when my girls went off to college, I made them some bags. First of all, Pat Miller and I were in an airport coming back from visiting my mother, and I wanted to have neat luggage for my daughters. And then I looked around the airport, and there was nothing. No one had anything patterned. The luggage was all black luggage or canvas luggage, or no color whatsoever. And I thought, well, these people are traveling to fun places on vacations and all that, and nothing's fun here. So that, I had to say, that was the light bulb that popped on. So when we got home, I went to Joann Fabric, bought some fabric, made up some duffel bags, sent them to my girls in college, and they called home and said, Mom, everyone loves these. They really love them. So I thought, well, we'll make more. So again, went back to Joann Fabric, bought more fabric, went down to the basement, cut out the patterns on the ping pong table, started with $250, which I borrowed, and from there it grew to $500 million. Easy, right? But my daily thing was we'd cut out the fabric and then we'd go to stores and sell them. And it started as a cottage industry. We put an ad in the paper for women, not specifically women, but it happened to be women that did respond to the ad. And they sewed in their homes. So Pat and I cut out all the fabric, put it in plastic bags with the thread, all the elements they needed, the zipper, the thread, the fabric. And then they would sew in their homes, and then they would bring it back to us. And we would sell it and ship it.
Growing from $250 to $500 million is definitely out of the box, thinking outside of the box. Yes. Can you walk me through the daily habits or the habits you had to create from building from the ping pong table to the factories?
Yeah.
250 to 500.
That is an interesting question because we got up to about 30 sewers in their homes, and it was a little frantic. You know, we're cutting out the fabric, they're coming. They couldn't have a smoke. They could not only not smoke in their home, they couldn't have anyone in their home with smoke because the fabric was quilted and the smoke would get into the foam that was inside the quilting. So it became an issue of home sewers. That was one of the things. Other than that, it was people coming and going all the time. And we had sewers that were better than the other sewers, and we paid them by piece, so they would bring the bags to my home, and I'd inspect them, and if they were made well, they were paid. So one of the sewers, actually it was a man and wife, they came to us and said, we would like to take over a building and have the sewers come and we'll sew in a building, and then we'll do the inspection and all of that. We were still doing the cutting, and that worked well because it took it out of We didn't have to have the restrictions on on smoking and all that. All right, so that was fine. Then the company kept growing, and Pat and I decided that home sewing wasn't going to make it for us. So we actually built a building. I mean, we just kept doing things. We didn't overthink it. And it was just the two of us, and we could make a decision. My children call me ready, fire, aim. Just you get the idea and you go with it. And we built a building, and it kept growing from there, actually. And then we had sales reps. Those were my friends, girls that I went to school with. My mother was a sales rep. My sisters were involved. And they went out and sold the product. So it grew pretty quickly. I think within a couple of years, we were selling $1 million worth.
I like it when you go back and you say you have the idea and you're known for just aim and fire with the idea.
Yeah.
What's the psychology behind, just because I know a lot of people, they might have like 10, 15 ideas. They don't know which one to act on. How do you point out which idea is the best and move forward?
I think what I think, and I think I have this in common with most entrepreneurs and stories that I've listened to and people that I've listened to, they don't overthink it. You just try it. If it doesn't work, you try the next idea. As far as having multi-ideas, I mean, we focused, granted, within our line, we have a lot of different styles and bags and colors and all that. But the original was just focusing on a duffel bag and a handbag. And we stuck to that for a while. And then people started asking for a hanging garment bag or a attaché case or something. So then the ideas were also given to us how to expand the company. But I think it's very entrepreneurial. I happen to believe you're just born that way. I'm one of 6 children. We're all very, very different. And for some reason, when I thought about it, I did it. I switched colleges because after 2 years in one college, I just thought, okay, now what? I'm always thinking, not because of the money. Even Vera Bradley wasn't started for the money. Vera Bradley was started to give color, to have people have something fun to travel.
Give color to life.
Yeah. But we never said this is going to be a huge company or we'll make a lot of money from it. We did work with SCORE, Service Corps of Retired Executives. I think one of my personal strengths is I know what I don't know. I'm aware of what I don't know. I'm not a numbers person. So I didn't want to focus on the numbers and neglect the design, take time, because I knew I'd never be good at that. And I think a lot of people go back to Vera Bradley. If we had analyzed it, if someone had said, okay, you're going to start a multi-million-dollar company, I would have thought, well, I can't do that. I don't know this and that and that. So the secret is you hire the right people, the things you can't do, the artists that design the fabric, the numbers people. SCORE helped us with that. And then you step back and let them do it.
So it's pretty much in a way where you have to understand your strengths and also understand your weaknesses and then hire the right people to overcome your weaknesses.
Exactly.
When you're hiring for your weaknesses, what are you looking into an individual? Because everybody can hire one bad hire, and that one bad hire could also destroy your business. So how would you overcome, or what do you look into in an individual when you're looking to hire somebody onto your team or onto your business?
You mean when I'm hiring someone to run that?
When you were first starting out, like, what kind of person were you looking for in an individual?
Well, I was looking for someone It had not. It wasn't really resume so much. It was someone that I would want to spend time with. I didn't want to just hire someone that I didn't think we clicked or they didn't get it. Well, an interesting story actually is when Pat and I went to the bank to get our first loan, and we went in to the banker that they assigned to us, and I could tell he didn't get it. I mean, he would have loaned us the money. And in fact, he offered to loan us the money. But he kind of looked at the bags, and where do you think you're going to sell these? And I could tell he had no confidence in us. So we got out to the parking lot, and Pat and I said, what did you think? We didn't care for him. So we had a different banker. Then we go in and we find a banker who said, oh, you girls are on. Think of Shark Tank. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You need someone who believes in you and who has faith in you and who gets it. I remember going to a gentleman's home for dinner one time. My husband and I were visiting someone he was in business with, or they were in the same business. And he said, tell me about what you're doing. And I explained our company. We were just starting. And he called me into his den and he wrote out a check for $2,500. And he said, okay, I believe in you. I think you're going to make it. I think you have something in you. You're going to make it. He said, so I'm giving you some money. If you're a success, it's a loan. You can pay me back. If you're a failure, consider it was a gift. Now that is an amazing thing. And there was a Harvard business teacher recently that I think I saw him on TikTok or something. And he was saying, you can have all the degrees in the world. To be likable is the greatest thing you can have in your life. If people like you, they will do things for you and with you, and they'll want to be connected to you. And you could have the best business resume in the world, but if someone doesn't really like you, you're not going to go anywhere. And I believe in that theory. I think I think it works. I was very blessed in that way through college, through high school. I'm one of 6 kids who married one of 8 kids. I have 34 nieces and nephews. I have 4 children, 12 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren. These are people that are honest with you, and they'll tell you if you're off base or we've heard that story, shut up, don't tell that one again. I think that's good for you. Keep you humble, and you learn it just seems easy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would say it kind of goes back, it ties into your family-oriented philosophy.
Yeah.
So would you say in today's world, I think you have a quote somewhere. I want to find it real quick. So you teach choosing nice and that there's enough room for everybody. So how does that apply in the cutthroat parts of business?
That one, I'm sorry.
How does that apply in the cutthroat parts of business?
Well, it's harder. We're a public company now, and I will say it's different because you have the board. I ran Vera Bradley as a family. At one point, there were 12 members of the family who worked in, from the warehouse to sales to anything, but they were involved in it. And I think I treated everyone like they were a family member, how you'd want to be treated. And I think the business part of it, I don't think it was ever for money. First of all, I was having fun and hired fun people who enjoyed it. I mean, they were all friends, really became friends. I'm still friends with people that they've retired and I haven't. I don't know. I just think you have to remain yourself and hire people. I don't think the resume is as important as getting it. Like any other brand, Vera Bradley is a perfect example. Some people get it, some people don't. I mean, and that's okay. There are brands that I don't get, and that's fine. So I don't try to convert people or talk them into liking us. It's just if they get it, they love us, and if they don't, that's fine too.
Yeah, it's going back to that Mel Robbins quote of just let them.
Let them. It's the let them theory. In fact, when I read her book, Mel Robbins, I was like, I think that was just what I had from the time I was a child. Yeah. We all can't like the same thing.
So one of my favorite quotes from you mentioned, I would just say, try it. What have you got to lose? So when you said that, what do you think people are really afraid of losing?
Okay, I think people are afraid to lose. I really do. And I think a lot of things, I call them plan Bs. And I'm all Bs, Barbara, Bradley, Byrne, Backart. So I'm a B person. I was a B student, maybe. Maybe I was a C student, but anyway, I love Bs. In the Chinese culture, they say that's a very lucky thing because things that connect, letters that connect, as opposed to, say, an L, you're lucky.
Yep.
You connect. You're,
Oh.
yeah, and you're perfect. But I just am blessed with knowing if this doesn't work out, we'll have another plan. I also refer to it as a fork in the road. If you hadn't gone this way, this might not have happened. Well, and if you hadn't run into, well, you and I ran into each other. I believe that. So if something doesn't work out, in my mind, I think, okay, maybe there's a better plan for me. And I've experienced that. And I've even, I do it, it's just the way I think. I mean, even if I'm driving along and I miss a turn, go to the wrong street, I think, who knows, maybe had I taken the other street,
Exactly.
I might have been in an accident, That's just the way my brain works.
That's a positive mindset.
Positive, yes. And then, well, as far as my, I told you about strength finders, positivity was my top strength and adaptability is my second strength. And I'm very proud of that because when something doesn't go right, then you adapt.
I want to go back deeper onto the adaptability. What's your 5-year vision for your business? Do you plan on adapting to modernism or?
You mean right now where we are
Correct.
with Vera Bradley? Right now I'm calling it Back to the Future. We we had a new team came in and they tried to make us more, call it fashion forward. I have been very proud to know that teachers love us and nurses love us. And like I say, I'm wearing J. Crew right now. I mean, that's who.
J. Crew.
Are you J. Crew?
Yep.
I love that. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a very comfortable place to be. And I think Vera Bradley fits there. I think we have loyal fans. And I could tell you, there's some cute stories. One cute story I'll tell you. I received a letter from a gal. There were 5 girls in the family, and they had one brother. And they never seemed to like his girlfriends. He'd bring girlfriends home, and they weren't. And so she said, but then he brought home a new girlfriend. She was carrying a Vera Bradley duffel.
Oh my gosh.
And they all said, oh my God, yes. It's like putting you you're normal. And I've heard stories of planes getting canceled and people seeing someone in the airport with a Vera Bradley bag and they go over and talk to them. We're not snobby. We are real. We're totally, totally who we are. And we're really, I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, I kind of just saw a full circle moment. It's just more of Vera Bradley connects with other Vera Bradleys, and it's all family oriented and not snobby. Yeah. I like that philosophy.
And that's who we hire too. I think The only people that have really left Vera Bradley, uh, who wanted out, who didn't get it, they were people that didn't get it. And
Let them.
because it's a culture, and you come in and we're collaborative, and we're friends, and we share a lot. And if someone's not comfortable there, I call it the wrong sorority. They're just go on to them. Not that they're wrong. Again, let them. That's fine with me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you're speaking to younger entrepreneurs, what advice would you want to give them to make sure they keep moving forward and not?
Well, again, I would say hire the right people, know your weaknesses, keep moving. You'll have disappointments. We all have. I think I mentioned to you earlier the story of when I went to buy the fabric wholesale.
Yeah, we can go into that.
Yeah, and we were buying the fabric at Joann Fabric and paying retail for it, and then we wanted to buy it at a better price. So when I was in New York, I went into VIP, a big company that sold to Joann Fabric. And they misunderstood. They thought I was with a larger company. So I got in to meet the head of sales. And pretty soon he figured out I was only thinking of buying 250 yards. Their minimum was 2,500 yards. But we became friends, I said, oh my gosh, that's my mistake. I didn't realize that. All right. We went on to be their he agreed to sell me sample. He said, we hit it off so well. We had the same sense of humor. And he said, okay, what I can do, I can sell you a sample yardage. And we'll just call it a sample, all that. All right. We ended up being their largest customer. And they had a sign in their office, remember Vera Bradley, because we
Connected.
Yes, actually. And I was a friend of his till the day he died. He and his wife, we visited him on our Martha's Vineyard. We became friends. So I think you mentioned a quote my father had, who was a businessman. He said, you sell yourself first, your company second, and your product third. You want to make the connection with someone, then your company has to back you up. I mean, they have to all be like you. They can't be a bunch of jerks and you're a nice guy. And then the product, there's lots of product out there. They don't have to buy your product. So and I think Vera Bradley's very relationship driven, for sure.
Going back to the sell yourself first, how'd you sell yourself first when you were starting Vera Bradley?
When I started Vera Bradley? Well, it's like walking into his office. We are who we are. We're nice people, and people trust us. And you just go from there. You think of them. Empathy was my fourth strength. I do have empathy for people, getting into his office, it's the receptionist who got me in there. Now, had I walked into the receptionist and acted like, someone different or someone she didn't connect with, I might have never even gotten into his office. But I was nice to her, and she was nice to me, and we kind of kidded around, and I don't know. I think it all starts with being genuine and being a nice person.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Likable, again.
Yeah, likable and connectivity.
Yeah.
That's how you... What was that Harvard quote again you mentioned? It's not about the resume, but it's just about being likable.
Exactly. It takes you a long way. It really does.
So what would you recommend entrepreneurs to still finish and go out to college, or would you just recommend them to keep going out and...
Well, I don't know. My background is interesting because I went to... I had no thought of but I did sew, I will say, growing up, and I made my kids' clothes and all that. But the college thing, I think today there's a new trend to, college is getting a little bit of a bad rap when you think you can go into one of the trades
Yeah.
and, yeah, or start your own. I don't think college played a big part in what I've become. I changed colleges. I was in college in New York. After 2 years, like, okay, I've had enough. What's next? Transferred to a college in Chicago. Two of my credits didn't transfer for some reason. And so when it came to time to graduate, they said, well, you have to make up these 2 credits. Well, I was out of there. I'm sorry. I put in my 4 years. And I just never, now I've received, call them honorary. The colleges like me now, of
Yeah.
course. But to me, that wasn't that important, to say, okay, it's amazing my parents didn't make me make up those, but I just never made them up. So college, I think you don't always know at that age what you want to do with your life. One of my grandsons, my oldest grandson, very smart young man, and his father was the CEO of Vera Bradley. So he had a good business knowledge and background. He went into business. He was in there 2 years, and he came to me, among other people, and said, I don't think I like this. And I said, well, what would you want to do with your life? He said, I think I'd like to be a teacher and a coach. He played college basketball. And I said, well, go do it. I mean, definitely do what you want to do and make your life your own. And he's totally happy teaching school, coaching basketball. He's got a family now. I mean, I would have never said, oh, no, your business degree, you've got to keep going, and your dad's a big deal. No, I would have never given that advice.
Mm-hmm. How do you spark that art back into people? Because I know usually when people go through school, they just go through the motions and just land a job. But I believe Steve Jobs might be the one who said it, or one of the other entrepreneurs out there is like, the whole goal is, how can I bring back the creativity in me? How can I find that art back into me and give it to the world? So what would be your advice to somebody?
Keep the creativity going, you mean?
Yeah, or just finding it back in them.
Well, you probably have to do 2 things. I mean, you have to support yourself while you're going for your dream, too. But I wouldn't give up. I mean, I've had many women come up to me and said, I made my kids' bags when they went off to college. Oh, okay. So we have that in common. But going forward and believing in yourself, I mean, I never dreamed it would be this big, I have to say. We have, I think, close to 3,000 employees now. And, to think it's a big responsibility for knowing so many people are depending on you. And I think that's one reason I'm still involved at my age, to assure that this continues on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How long do you still plan on being involved? Like, what's the vision after? Like, do you still see yourself creating more companies, or?
Well, I built the hotel. I always have to have something to do. And it has nothing to do, again, I had never thought of owning a hotel or building a hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, but we needed one in Fort Wayne. We really did. And we had people coming in, board members and people from all over the world. And then I just wasn't comfortable with where we had them stay. And so without a lot of, a ready, fire, aim, I just said, okay, I'll build a hotel. And it was fun and it was easy and I learned from it. And I've had offers from other cities to do the same thing. And I would never do that. This was for Fort Wayne. This, I almost call my guest house. This is a place to be proud of for people to stay. Because Fort Wayne, I'm I'm proud of the city and the homes and the people and the schools. And my kids went to public schools, and I was very happy with where they went. And no, I just think you just have to keep following your dream, and if it doesn't work out, do something else. But I don't have any other ideas behind me right now. I did build a place. My husband died of Alzheimer's, and we were very able to have him remain at home. But when he died, I remember thinking, what would I have done? This is how my mind worked. What if I hadn't been who I was? What would I have done? And I knew they had daycare centers for children, but what would they have had if I had gone to work every day? So anyway, I built a place. I fixed that one. And it was a day away for adults, and you could leave them in there at 7 in the morning, pick them up at 7 at night. We strictly day care, and dogs were welcome, and we had a piano in there, and I created something, not that I needed it anymore, but there was a need for it. And I put that in the same category as a hotel. There was a need for it in this city.
Have you ever had moments or thoughts where maybe you questioned everything, if it would work out or if it wouldn't?
Not really. I should have.
So it's always been go, 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 go.
Yeah. I don't, well, because again, I always think everything's going to work out.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't, then plan B.
Plan B works out.
And then you say, oh, I'm kind of glad that didn't work. I had that in my personal life. My first marriage didn't work out. My second marriage was perfect. And I was, that was a very tough decision to make and what to go through. But my life has been like that. It's been when one thing doesn't work out, something else does. And moving, I've built 12 homes because I like to build stuff. And moving in my first marriage, we were never in a home 2 years. And I had 4 children in 5 years. So that was not easy, moving. But every time we moved, I was devastated to leave where we were. But then when I got to the next place, I was so happy. I wouldn't have known the people I knew if I had moved. So I guess that's just been the pattern of my life. Yeah.
It's just going back to the adaptability.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, adaptability for sure.
So if creativity is a reflection of the soul, so what do you think yours says about you?
About what?
What would you say your creativity says about you?
What it says about me? I'm just very glad I have it. There's so many things I don't have, like I say, the numbers and all that stuff. And I think I've just been very blessed. That's one reason I named the company after my mother, because she was extremely creative, did her own decorating and all of that. 6 children. My one brother had cerebral palsy, and he was, she had a special needs child and 5 children, and yet she still managed to lead a busy life and accomplish things and decorate. And I don't know, she was really my inspiration. Yeah.
If you were starting from zero today, you're in your 20s, what would you go ahead and start, or what would you do again?
See, I was in my 40s when I started. I can't even imagine in your 20s. In your 20s, what I've said to my grandchildren, I think it's a good opportunity, especially if you're not in a relationship. If you're on your own in your 20s, you have the whole country to look at. You can move to another town. You can change business. If you don't like your job, go work somewhere else. I think, too, when you're looking for a job, I would really look into it, look at the culture of it. What were the people like? Were they happy? Walk through the building or the company. The receptionist, was she friendly when you went to that office? I would put a lot on that more than just get a job to make the money because it's what they pay. I believe in taking it very personally.
So chasing your passion rather than a paycheck, would you say?
The what?
Like it's like chasing your passion rather than what the job pays.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I can see, well, they could take the job, what it pays, but then if they're not happy there, move on. Take the opportunity to know there are other choices. I would not stay in a situation where I wasn't happy. No. I think life's too short. I think you should like the people you work with and, look around.
What's one piece of advice you'd give to an entrepreneur that's just starting out?
Just keep working.
Keep
Just
pushing.
keep working really hard and listen to other people ask advice. Now, going back to when we started Vera Bradley, stop and think of this, 43 years ago. There was no internet. We faxed our orders back and forth. And there were I was the first female on the board of directors of the gift shows, the gift organization, which was almost all female. I mean, but women, it was not easy. But I think I didn't feel that I wasn't equal or anything. But I will say men were very eager to give us advice how to do things. And that was fine. I listened to them. I really did. I wanted to hear what they had to say. But I never felt, in my family, 4 girls, 2 boys, I've always felt equal. I really have. I've always felt like I listen to everyone and then basically do it my way or what I think is the best way. But I wouldn't not listen to people.
Where do you think you adapted that mindset of it's going to work out? Like it's not working out is not an option. It has to work out. Where would you say you adapted that mindset, or has it always just been a part of your life?
I think it was just the family that I was in. I really do. I think my parents, when I look at my siblings, they're all different. I have a brother who's a musician. I have a sister who's basically, I won't call her a farmer, but she's animals and all that. I mean, we have different strengths. We don't all have the same strength. And I think that's the way they raised us. It's a let them, and they let us. Yeah.
So do you think femininity and leadership have to look like toughness, or can warmth and intuition just be as powerful?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
No, you're good. So do you think femininity and leadership have to look like toughness, or can warmth and intuition just be as powerful?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I describe myself as tough, but I have high standards, and that is for sure. And I expect something to get done and get done the right way. And I have a high level. I've set a high bar. And in a lot of ways, in personal, in who they are as a human being and their talent. I had 3 or 4 personal assistants before I settled, that's a bad way to say it, but before I found the person that really could do everything I needed her to do. And she was with me for 35 years. She just retired. I have high expectations. I put it that way. But I don't know if tough is the word. I'm not sure anyone would describe me as tough.
I think going back to it, how do I want to describe it? What would be like one piece of advice that if someone thought of Barbara Bradley, what would you want them to think of?
I would just like to leave a legacy of, first of all, I think you could do it. I would encourage anyone to try what, because again, nothing in my background would say I would be sitting here right now. Nothing. But I think to be true to yourself, to be kind to other people, if you treated everyone the way you wanted to be treated, we wouldn't need the 10 Commandments. You wouldn't.
Yeah.
Just treat everyone the way you want to be treated. That's
Exactly.
the only rule you'd have to live by. And be open to ideas. Don't think you know it all, because I don't know it all. And sometimes my idea wins and sometimes it doesn't. If someone can come up with a better idea, then I say, have at it. I've never felt that my idea should win necessarily. And I think the people that work with me would have that same answer. I'm collaborative.
So my last question to you is, what's one truth you would tell every young entrepreneur listening right now? Like, not advice they want to hear, but advice they need to hear.
Advice for the entrepreneur?
Yeah, not something that the entrepreneur would want to hear or that's like a stigma out there, but advice that's something they need to hear.
Well, it can be done. I mean, I would just say that most entrepreneurs are like me. They started from nothing and built it. But just you have to have confidence in yourself, and you have to work hard. I've enjoyed every day of working, but I didn't start Vera Bradley till I was 42. So I was more of a homebody, home mother, and then. I mean, the entrepreneur is just kind of like something you have inside of you, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like never too late to start something.
Well, I would say never too late at 42 to start a company
Exactly.
like we did, and to start as low as we did, and we had some really not many setbacks. The growth continued, and made a lot of friends along the way. I would say just be yourself and just stick to your own values. I wouldn't do anything just for the money. I don't think it's worth it.
Find a bigger purpose, something you can leave behind. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you for doing this podcast with me. I appreciate it.
Well, I hope that I got the answers you were looking for.
It's perfect.
Is
Everything's
it?
perfect.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, you're an entrepreneur yourself, so that's great.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying it?
I'm loving it. Yeah. I think I spoke with Darley Doden. The best way he put it is it's like fall in love with the journey instead of the destination.
I love that.
And then what Elon Musk is, I actually love living by his philosophy too, is it's a failure way to success.
Yeah.
Like always look for the nose. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. It's
Well,
like, kinda like with
on
his
the
rockets in a way.
TED Talks too, they say the more natural you are, the better the TED Talk. There was a book on TED Talks, which I read, and it said, if you're too planned, all the answers. That's why, I don't know that I did that good a job on answering, but to have something set in my mind, this is how I do it.
Yeah.
It isn't that way, because
You have
that's
to be
not
adaptable.
who I am. And we had an interesting thing. We were speaking to a huge group, and the other owner, I own half. We went in, the people that run hotels. Yeah. And they asked if I had always wanted to own a hotel. And I said, no way, it wasn't even in my thoughts. It's just we needed one. And the other answer, the other woman, the other half, she said, "Oh, I always wanted to own a hotel." Well, that's a good answer, but I don't think that's how life is. You don't.
Stuff comes out of the blue.
That's the plan B. That yeah. I was with, you know who Kristen Chenoweth is?
Who
you
is
know
it?
Kristen Chenoweth. She's a Broadway star.
Don't think
Big
so.
big star. She's the one who got me on the fork in the road. I was always plan B, but she used fork in the road. And when she was speaking, she said her fork in the road started at birth. She was adopted. And then her whole speech went on to say if she hadn't done this, she wouldn't have done this. If she hadn't moved there, she wouldn't have. And that's how I describe my life.
You know, I really do like your plan B philosophy because
Yeah.
I think you might be actually the first person that explains it in a really, really good way. Because
Yeah.
I've spoke with a few entrepreneurs and it's like, don't ever have a plan B. Just go for always plan A. Because if you think of a plan B, then you're already one step foot out of the door.
Yeah. No. Not at all. I could tell you many things. Moving to Fort Wayne was a plan B. I had no, you know, we were living in Chicago. We kept moving around, and then this would not have been my first choice. This is 40 some years ago, but this is where we ended up, and look what happened.
Exactly.
And Vera Bradley might not exist in another city. I might not have been bored.
Yeah. It's crazy what the universe offers.
Yeah, no, I do. That'll probably be on my tombstone.
Plan B or I like it.
That'll be my philosophy. Don't overlook the plan Bs because things lead you.